Paisa.
You're listening to the Paisa Perspective Podcast, which can only mean one thing. Eres chingón. Aquí se cotorrea y hablamos puras pendejadas. But we always keep it 100. Siempre estamos al 100. You don't have to believe everything we say, but you best believe it's puro pinche fuego. Alright, before we begin this podcast, I do want to shout out some of our biggest supporters in the DFW, and the support is very much appreciated. Let's start with our first partners, the Tint Squad. If you want to be tinted out, rolling through the DFW, make sure you got that tint that makes people mind their business. Hit up the Tint Squad at 682-203-4908, and if you want to get tinted up for free, make sure to subscribe and share our YouTube channel for your chance to get your windows tinted up for free. Again, their number is 682-203-4908. Tell them the Paisa Perspective sent you. And we also want to give a huge shout out to Lotus Roofing, Leaks and Roof Restorations. They specialize in hailstorm restorations, leak repairs, roof replacement and installment, and house restorations as well. Contact their claim specialist, Jose Fernandez, at 682-203-4908 or go to www.lotusroofrestoration.com. That's www.lotusroofrestoration.com. And also making its way through the DFW, we got Host Insurance Services at 15150 Preston Road in Suite 300. You're paying way too much for your car insurance. Call them at 817-401-7409 or at hostinsurance1@gmail.com. Call them for your free quote today. And Star City Technologies. They do system design, wiring and cable, fiber optics, and security. They install everything from alarms, registers, CCTVs, access controls, and computers. Make sure you go to the professionals for all of your security needs. You can contact them at starcitytechnologies@outlook.com or at 469-509-8760. Again, that's 469-509-8760. Star City Technologies. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Paisa Perspective. I'm your boy Roy. I've been MIA for a minute. I haven't done any podcasts. It's been a minute since my last podcast. I've been going through a lot of personal issues. You don't really get to make a lot of excuses in the real world. You're expected to just get back on track, but I decided to take a few months. I was going to say a few weeks, but it's actually been, I think, a little bit over 2 months since my last podcast. And it's for a good reason. If you watched if you heard the very first podcast, you know that I dedicated it to my cousin Susie, and it was tough because me and her were really close. I had another tough loss 2 months after her passing. I lost my dad, and so for that reason, I kind of chose to take a break and focus on being there for my family and really just learning how to cope with his loss because it was not easy. I did record a few podcasts about this, but I couldn't get through the whole thing without crying, so I called in some reinforcements. And I'm here with my two beautiful sisters and my okay-looking brother. But yeah, they came here to support me, and I'm very grateful for it. I'm here with my sister Maria.
Hello, everyone.
I'm here with my sister Rosa.
Hi.
And I'm here with my little brother Christian.
What it do?
Y'all may remember him from my YouTube channel. If you've seen it, he's on there. But yeah, they're joining me. Thank you guys so much for being here. Like I said, I recorded a few podcasts about this, and I would try to edit it and publish it, but it just wasn't going to work because nobody wants to hear a grown man crying for that long. But I really don't even know where to start. I guess let's start from the beginning. Oh, actually, before we get started talking about Dad's passing, I want to thank everybody that has been so extremely supportive.
Yes.
Through my father's passing. I know I saw a lot of you guys as friends there. Whenever you lose someone close to you, someone really close to you, and people send their condolences, it doesn't take the pain away. It doesn't make the situation any better. But it does feel really good to know that there's an army of people behind you that have your back and they're there to support you throughout that tough process. So again, thank you so much. I know I saw Lala's friends at Dad's viewing funeral. I saw Rosie's friends, Christian's friends, and some of my friends. You know, Elvis from Spanglish lessons, he came from all the way from Mesquite to Dad's funeral. I don't know if y'all saw him there, but he came all the way from Mesquite, and he never even met Dad. He was just there to support. But go ahead, Lala. You have.
That's really kind.
Yeah, y'all have something to say.
My boy Arnaldo came on his birthday. Shout out to my boy No.
Oh, shout out to Nono. Yeah, I saw Arnaldo
on his birthday.
I saw Jennifer there.
You know, Jennifer, Marissa, Araceli, Maria. Man, I had coworkers. I mean, like, the love is unreal. Just to be there and, like, you know, it was so hard not to hug everyone and, you know, just embrace everybody that came. But it was just so beautiful to see, you know, how many people really just truly care for you. I think, like you said, it doesn't make the situation easier, but it's just uplifting. Like, knowing how many people love you, you know? Yeah. And I mean, yeah, just thank you everyone who showed up.
Well, I just feel like even people just sharing, you know, their memories with Dad too. You know, some of his coworkers that were there and would talk about him. And it's like such a tough time for people to show up to, you know, just for people to come out and try to be there in a supportive way with, you know, the pandemics. It's already a tough decision to make, to try to go somewhere where there's going to potentially be a ton of people. And, you know, there was people waiting outside just to get in, to be able to, you know, give their condolences and let us know that they're praying for us and that they're there with us and, you know, making sure that we don't feel alone.
Y'all pretty much covered it. I mean, it means a lot for people to show and that they're there for us, whatever we need. You know, that'll go a long way for me. That's one of the more beautiful memories that I have of that day. It's just that the support we got.
Facts.
Yeah. That was something that a lot of people said, right? Like, whatever you need, let me know. I'm here for you. Like, honestly, like I said, it doesn't take me away, but it feels so good to know that there's a lot of people to back you up. And then we met like a lot of people that I had never met before that knew Dad, that came to pay their respects. Like that lady that made y'all cry, and by y'all I mean me a little bit. I saw her again at Tio Ezequiel's at Tia Magdalena's funeral, and then
she gave
because she worked with. She was a coworker. I'd never met her, of course, but she was crying really hard, and Meño's the one that said, "Hey, she works with your dad," and you know, it was beautiful to just hear what she had to say about Dad, because I think to me that's one of those things that keeps his memory alive. Like when you hear stories that, you know, you're not familiar with. So, I mean, she's like, oh my God, you're, you know, Lala, oh my God, like, oh, your dad talks about you so much. And then, like, no joke, whenever I said, this is the Christian, this is the baby, this is Chris, she like lit up and she's like, oh, he talks about you all the like, you
which
know.
I don't understand.
I mean, obviously I was Dad's favorite, but just kidding.
A lot of times when people pass away, you may think like, oh, they were probably already sick for a long time, and or it was, you know, COVID right now because of the pandemic, and that definitely was not the case for us. He wasn't sick. So it was a shock. It was not something that we had mentally prepared for.
Expected.
Right.
It was just tough. Like, you guys remember me sending that first, you know, chat. Like, he called me and he said, I don't feel very good. And I told him, how do you feel? Like, tell me how you feel. And, you know, he described it. And then he said, and then I told him, I was like, so do you need me to take you to the hospital? And he said, no, I think it's just a cold, and I don't want to go, like, to the hospital. Like, there's sick people, you know. He's, you know, Dad, very blunt, saying, oh, they're going to get me even more sick because of the pandemic. And I think each one of us reached out to him, and, you know, I don't know if he said the same thing to you guys, but that's what he came to me and said. And then later that evening, you know, I did take him some food. I took him medicine and water. The next morning, you took him to the hospital, and that was just one of those last moments that, you know, that we saw him, because...
Yeah, they weren't allowing anybody to stay with him or for him to have visitors. So that's another thing that was extremely tough for all of us.
Real quick, I know the day before, whenever y'all told me that he wasn't feeling good the day before, I talked to him and I talked to him on my way home from work, and he said, like, yeah, like you said, that he thought it wasn't such a big deal. He thought that he didn't feel good, but it wasn't that serious.
I mean, you know that just goes to show how strong he is.
Yeah.
And I said that from the beginning. Like, he had a heart attack and he was able to pull through until he just couldn't take it anymore. I guess the pain was just too much, which is when you, Roy, took him to the hospital the next day. And
just for the local people in the DFW, just so y'all know how not long ago it's been, it was the day that Poly America was on fire. Because I remember whenever I was... Well, yeah, because I remember...
Yeah, that's true, because I actually had sent him pictures.
Yeah, he told me that you sent him pictures.
Yeah, I had sent him pictures.
On my way, whenever I was driving him to the hospital, I asked him if he had heard about Poly America, and he's like, yeah, Rosie sent me pictures. Rosie was telling me about it. And then we saw the smoke, like, on our way to the hospital.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then whenever it was his I guess reaction towards how he was feeling was completely different from one day to the next. Because one day he didn't think it was that big of a deal. Rosie, they did confirm that he had like a minor heart attack, right, that night.
Yes, so it said that he had, I guess, been like going through it, like he was like still going through it. But even in the morning, I mean, I feel like the way that the same thing. He wanted us to just drop off medicine or something. He was going to try to get some rest to see if he could feel better in the morning. And in the morning, it was more like he definly said, "Okay, I want to go to the hospital."
Yeah, and that's like hard for him to do.
Yeah, but like on my way to the hospital, I mean, his feelings towards his reaction towards how he was feeling from one day to the next was completely different, because the day before he thought that it was something small. The day after, he was kind of freaking out about it. He was like, I know, I'm telling you like how I feel, and I told you guys that I did not want to take him to the hospital.
Yeah, no, none of us wanted him to go to the hospital. We didn't. None of us
wanted to, but like maybe just if I'm being honest, I thought that he was like showing some type of COVID symptoms.
Yeah. I agree.
And that's why
same.
I did not want to take him to the hospital, because of everything that happened with Susie. I mean, I'm not going to get in too deep to her situation, but we did kind of, I guess we were just mad and looking at someone to blame, and we thought that it was like the hospital just didn't do their part, and for that reason I did not want to take him, and I kept on telling him like, Daddy, yo no te quiero llevar al hospital. But he was like, okay, pues entonces llévame a donde tú quieras, pero yo sé cómo me siento, so he knew that it was something serious. And then, I mean, the whole policy, the visitation policy at the hospital didn't help. I mean, no visitors were allowed at all. Like, whenever I dropped him off there at the hospital, I told him, okay, wait for me right here. Don't move. This was outside of the ER. I told him, stay here. I'm going to go park the car and come back. Of course, he didn't listen to me. Dad always marches a beat of his own drum. So he went in there, and then I walk in, and I find him, and they told me that I can't stay. So I just gave him a real big hug and told him that I love him. And that was the last time that I saw him like in a conscious state. Like personally saw him in a conscious state. Like I said, they weren't very helpful. They weren't letting anybody come up and see him. The next day, you guys somehow found your way all the way to the floor. Mind you, at this point, the visitation policy was no visitation, no visitors.
No, like
no
whatsoever.
Visitors. Not one visitor at a time. Nothing. It was no visitors. So my sisters, the next morning, y'all talked to him on the phone, right? The day before.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, that morning after I took him out to the hospital.
Yes.
I know for sure Rosie spoke to them first. I was working. I remember working, and I saw that I had missed a call from him. And school was going to end, 30, 40 minutes after that. So I just waited, and then I called back, and, I spoke to the nurse. She told me, your dad, unfortunately suffered a heart attack, and, he's stable right now, but we are going to have to do an open heart surgery. And I mean, I'm crying the whole time, and, definitely don't want to make it about me, but I was on the phone with him when, I'm finding out this drastic piece of news, and I just couldn't take it. I kind of left work and kind of got hit by another vehicle. But that's neither here or there. I just knew that I'm going to see my dad. Like, he's not about to go into surgery, and we're not going to see him. So Rosie and I kind of, came up with the master plan, and we finessed the hell.
Long story short. Okay, so
I would like
Rosie
this story to be long, not short.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I'm joking. Oh. I just feel like...
I was about to say, we could break it down from the beginning. They take your temperature.
Yes. So they had said, after we called like the millionth time, they had said, okay, only one of you guys can come, because I think we used the excuse that we needed to get something from him, like the car keys. I don't know what it was.
Liars, both of them.
And so it was like, no, we have to go and get it directly like from him. So they're like, okay, one of you guys can come up. And we're like, okay, cool. What was your name? Nurse, Nurse whatever. So
Lindsay.
Nurse Lindsay.
Oh, we probably shouldn't put that out there.
So
let's start over.
Well, that's okay, because it's a first name. They don't know.
Okay, yeah.
And they don't know what hospital either.
John.
Oh my
God.
Chris, leave it to Chris.
So nurse, all we needed was her name, and then we get to the guy at the front, and he's like, no, there's no visitor. We're like, no, we already spoke to Nurse Lindsay, and she said we can come up. And he's like, are you sure? We literally just ran
like
straight.
We didn't even ask questions. Like, as soon as they took our temperature, like, it was stations. Like,
yes,
the first station is at the entrance
with the cop.
Yeah, the first station is at the entrance with the cop, and that's when they take your temperature. And so for some reason, did we plan that we were going to pretend that we weren't together or something? I don't know. I can't remember.
That was the second day. That was
probably the second day, but the first day, like we used whatever nurse name we remembered.
That was the same day, actually, because remember you left and came back
with
them two.
Yep.
Oh,
it was the second round trip, the second trip.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah, so you're right. So we literally took our temperature, and the lady... And then when we went to the second station, which is where they actually give you the bracelet to go upstairs to the ICU. And so she said something like, I can't remember, Rosie. What did she say? She said, who are you here for? And like, oh, our dad is, we were already given permission by so-and-so. Oh, you were, let me check on that. Boom. We just kind of.
The elevator opened.
And we were just. Boom.
We already knew what floor.
We ran. And we really felt proud of ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, the hospital did great. Like, I'm not going to lie. They were so amazing and so, like, accommodating to us. But I think at that point we didn't really care about anything else other than seeing Dad.
Yeah. I will say that I feel like that may be the most gangsta shit y'all have ever done. Like, ever.
Possibly.
Y'all got to the 4th floor, right?
I feel like it was more gangster the second time we went. Because
the second time we got both of you in.
It was, okay, yes. So the second, so
it was like, Dad. It was like, at the club whenever you're like not 21 and so they like, or they stamp you. Well, they gave us like my temperature sticker on my t-shirt and then I gave it
your ID to someone else.
Yes, exactly. So I gave like my temperature sticker to Chris, like, you were already here.
Oh, Chris was not playing games.
He was
like,
not.
He's like, I don't care, like, I think out of all of us,
not even like the cop, like he just walked straight. Like
Chris did,
like he was invisible.
He did not follow our directions. We were like,
we had a whole plot.
We had a whole plot. Christian's like, fuck y'all. Like, I'm about to get through this door. Like,
he listened to the plot and then was like, we're professionals. We did it earlier this morning. This is how you're going to have to get through. And then we're all ready to start our lies on how we're going to get back up there to see my dad. And Chris is just like, I'm invisible, and just ran straight to the elevator. Like, the lady, like, even, like, raised her hand, like ready to say something, but it was too late.
It was too late.
Yeah.
So.
Man, mind you, the visitation policy is no visitors. And 4 of us got to the 4th floor. It was the 4th floor, right?
At that point, I think it was the 4th floor.
Yeah. So, okay. So that was their first trip. Then the second trip, they pick up me and Chris. And then the whole road there, we're going over the plan about how we're going to get up there. Chris is, of course, not listening or paying attention. But I just remember, okay, we get to the ER. And then the guy's like, wait, they said all 4 of y'all can go? And then y'all were just like, yeah, they said so. And
bye,
we just, boom. We just walked to the elevator.
We talked to Nurse
and
Lindsay.
then the lady with the pizza, the nurse with the pizza, she's like, hey, did they say I can come over here? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Mind
your business. That's pretty much what we
And then the
said.
elevator doors closed. We chit-chat with her and boom. And now when we got to the 4th floor, that's whenever all 4 of us acted like we didn't know each other. Like, all 4 of us were so separate.
Remember
in
that
that
lady that
in that
stared at us
room?
the whole time?
Oh, there was a lady that would not stop staring, and I was on edge. Like, I was so on edge. I was like, well, yeah, we all were, but like, I think I'm the one that noticed that she would not stop staring at us. Like, why are all of you here? And I'm like, let her say something. Like, I kept telling you guys, like, let's sit apart so that we don't make it so obvious. But no, before that whole situation, you know, I feel that my biggest blessing, or one of the things that I'm the most grateful for, is that, you know, Rosie and I did get to see him before he went to surgery. And, you know, I was able to, you know, Rosie was like, don't kiss him. Don't touch him.
No, it's not like that. It's because you were kissing him with the mask, like the outside of the mask. Like, take your mask off and do it like skin to skin. Otherwise, like with your mask on, it's like germs are on the outside of your mask.
Obviously, I know that, Rosie, but like the nurse was like kind enough to let us both in there, so I was just trying to.
So
respect
let me
her.
kiss him with my mask on.
Yeah, you can cut that out.
Let's get back on track. No, and then Christian was able to see him like while he was still like conscious before he went into the thing.
I mean,
yes, he did.
No,
yes, he did.
After surgery.
Right after surgery.
Oh, no, but it was because whenever he smiled at you.
That was after surgery.
It wasn't over after the heart surgery, though.
Yes, it was.
Oh, it was after the heart surgery. But Christian. Okay.
I mean,
so you were able to see him.
Was this day 2? This was day 2.
This was day 2.
Yes, because of him being at the hospital.
Yeah.
Because this was when us 4 did all went the first time.
All the way.
Yes, you're right.
Because I was the only one allowed to actually, because only one person was allowed to see him after the surgery.
Well, I think we had said that you were going to get something from his wallet.
Oh, but but I think at that point they still were not like, they were so adamant. No, but I'm pretty sure the nurse like had a thing for Chris, because for some reason
he just knows how to sweet talk.
He does.
Like, you know, like she was really kind already too, and we're like, you know, that we got to see him earlier, and you know, he's his favorite. We just said that. Obviously, we didn't mean it, but we just wanted to.
I wish I had known y'all had said that.
I
got in there. I was the only one that hadn't seen him up until that point. Like, my sisters got to see him right before the surgery. Roy obviously took him, so it was just nice for me to be able to go in there. And you know, at first I was just kind of talking to him, and he was obviously heavily sedated, so he was asleep. But then, like, right before I left, I had told him something, and then his eyes just flew open and looked at me, and he smiled. So it's just something I'm always gonna remember.
And that was another thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm really, really, really appreciative of everything that the hospital did. 100%. I'm just I don't want to switch gears so fast, but I was just a little bit. Well, okay, I was really pissed off that they were giving us like false hope, because they would kind of give us good news and bad news, then really good news, then really bad news, and then we got our hopes up. I mean, after he did the whole heart surgery, they told us that it was successful.
I mean, yeah, I think
we
that's
were all praying, like we were thanking God that the heart surgery was successful.
You know, I think God granted us more time with him, because it could have easily gone not good. And, you know, I mean, I guess we are getting a little fast track, but it was a hard 3-4 weeks for sure. Like you said, and I don't think that it was anything that they could control, you know? I mean, you know, we would all call all hours of the day and night, you know, especially Rosie wouldn't sleep, so she would call at, 3 a.m, and I would wake up and call at 7 a.m, and, it was hard. But I think looking back at it, we got to spend a little bit more time with Dad. We got to, each one of us, tell him, you know, how much we love him. And even though he was a lot of the time, you know, when they opened up visitation, finally, I think it was week 2. And they allowed one visitor from 11 to 7, yes?
6.
11 to 6. There was not a day that my dad was alone.
Yeah.
And it was not even a half day. Like, I was there.
Sympathy 5.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can't remember which one of us went first. I think it was Chris.
You.
It was
no.
me.
Yeah, it was Christian, and then
it was
you,
Chris.
and then me, and then Rose, I think.
Yeah, and then after that, you know, we opened it up to, you know, his brothers and sisters.
The abuelo was not. He was like a Chris number 2.
Let's talk about the abuelo, because
talk about not taking no for an answer.
Oh
my god, Chris,
let's
go. Yeah. Explain this.
That love, like
that brother love.
Oh, even no, like he was trying to like at first like respect like how we, you know, how he's like, okay, if they're gonna let somebody go, then you guys go. But I'm still going to show up every day.
Yeah.
And he did.
Every day.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think his exact response whenever we told him that they weren't going to let him in, he said, "A huevo los tienen que dejar."
Every day.
And my tío abuelo did not understand that there was no visitors allowed. Like, it just wouldn't go. Like, he would go into
and
one
even at first,
out the other.
Even at first, when we were like getting the news, and if it wasn't good news, like we would try to like not really tell anyone, so we were just kind of keeping it amongst us 4. But my tío abuelo was like, ¿Cómo que no te van a decir nada nuevo? Like, he just, what are you talking about? They have to give you new updates. This is not right. I'm gonna call the hospital. What's his nurse's name? Like, I'm just gonna go up there and talk to them. Like, this is not a normal time. Like, you can't just go up there.
I, of course, love my aunts and uncles dearly, but I think going through something this hard, and them, you know, of course, this is their brother, especially, you know, my tía abuelo and my tía Estela, like and grandma, of course, but I mean, just the support, the prayers every single day. I mean, every single day, I think it was a rosary, like, and we couldn't be in person, so we had to do them through Zoom, but I mean, our cousins, you know, I mean, like, seriously, this family is like so knit tight. I'm so grateful. So grateful. But yeah, I mean,
I think whenever we told Tío Abuelo that there was no visitors allowed, he asked for the address to the hospital.
Oh, no, yeah, he said, text me the address. Yeah. And I said, but they're not going to let you in. Text me the address. Okay. And then what happened? Okay, it was the day of his surgery. And they finally gave us the good news that, you know, at that moment, it was good news that he made it through surgery, which, you know, that, like, you know, just to be real, like, the doctor said, you know, it's not, I can't believe. Going in, I can't remember the percent, like,
right.
Like 70% mortality rate, I think, that he wouldn't make it at that point. And he said this in front of Dad, and, you know, I think Rosie and I, you know.
Oh, he said that to...
Yeah, no, he was saying all of this in front of all of us. No, he had to know. Dad had to know.
Well, I mean, he said it in English, and Dad doesn't really talk English, so, I mean, I don't know if you want to...
Didn't he have a translator?
You know, he did. Yeah, they told us, he's like, all of this has been said to him through the translator, just to make sure that he gets it, you know, that he, you know, understands what we're saying. But I think that's why I was terrified.
Rosie came, well, after the surgery, after the heart surgery, I remember Rosie running to me, saying, like, crying, saying that they said that everything was okay, and he made it through the surgery without complications, and then all 4 of us were just extremely...
It was a great moment of hope to have at that point, because I think we needed it. You know, I think we weren't ready yet, and that's why I'm so grateful that we did get a little bit more time, even though those 3-4 weeks were not easy at all. But, you know, just like you said, good news followed by bad news. Good news followed by bad news. I mean,
it's not okay to play with someone's emotions like that, Maria. I mean, like I'm saying, I'm not saying that they had a choice. I'm just saying that they could have been more blunt. Yeah, they were just giving it to us real. Yeah, I just wanted them to give it to us completely blunt, because after they told us that his heart surgery went okay, I was already getting ready to tell him like how he scared us and how strong he was and everything. And so I just don't like my emotions to be played with. I am glad that, like you said, that we were all able to have our own day to like watch him. And the whole time that I was during my day, I just kept on telling him. I was just talking to him, and then I would do this a lot. I would ask him to move his foot. I would ask him to like squeeze my hand, or to move his arm. I would tell him to do something, and sometimes he would listen, sometimes he wouldn't, you know. And so it was tough. And then I think towards the end, whenever, like before they even told us, before they called us in to have that meeting, I mean, we all know what they called us in there. I don't know if I was the only one, but I know what they called us in there for. And I mean, we all knew, right? We all knew.
We knew the possibility.
We knew. And before they called us in there was just like a voice in the back of my head telling me that, no, that's not what was going to happen. That they were going to maybe give us some good news and tell us, you know, but whenever it was like set in stone and they basically told us what was going on, what our options were, I mean, the hardest part about it was looking at you guys and seeing how
we were just so defeated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, I think that,
I mean, I was mad because not only were they playing with my emotions, but y'all's emotions too. I mean, I saw how happy you guys were whenever y'all saw that he was out of surgery, and that's what like really fucks with me a lot, because we lost our dad. He's not with us anymore, or at least not, you know, physically. He's still with us, obviously, in our hearts. But I was just mad because they made us feel like everything was going to be okay, and this is me just venting. I feel like it's part of the healing process.
It is. I think that's what I was just about to say. I mean, I feel part of the, there's a lot of things. I really do try to stay positive. I try, I mean, I've said it many times, like there's not a day, a minute that he doesn't cross my mind. Yeah. I know that we're not the only ones that have ever lost their father, you know? You know, I've spoken to my best friend, you know, Jennifer. She lost her dad 5 years ago, and it was the same thing, a heart attack, but you know, she didn't have that much time with him, you know. And one thing that Brenda told me is that, you know, that we were very blessed to have those moments to kind of just say the last things that we wanted to Daddy. Man, that would take me back. I do want us to talk about like that grieving process, because it's like we're not alone. You know, there's a lot of people.
I feel like that immediately, like what I felt is that I was so sad that there are other people, you know, that lost their dad, and I feel like with my friend Lindsay, I don't feel like I was there for her enough. Like if this, like how painful it is, like I hate that people have shared this. And that's just how I feel. I just hate that people have, you know, are able to share their grief and have had to endure this type of pain, you know. I think like that's the saddest part. I'm sorry. Like, to everybody who's lost a parent, I think like that's really tough. And it's like more because like for us, we weren't like distant, you know. We all called each other all the time, tried to get together. I mean, I think like that's another thing that's been hard is like we were like kind of all just staying distant because of the pandemic. We weren't going or getting together as often as we had like last year. And that's another thing that sucks is like we had so much time apart from one another and Dad. So he especially was like, no, where I work, and I don't want to get the kids sick. So he was really trying to just keep himself away from us.
I will say that I don't know what I would have done without you guys. I mean, through the whole entire thing, y'all were literally like my strength through the whole entire process. I mean, right. We were together through that whole entire thing. Whole entire thing, the whole time. The whole time we were there for each other. And I mean, I know I can't speak for all four of us, but I know that I kind of feel like I was trying to stay strong for you guys, and I kind of felt the same thing, that y'all were trying to stay strong for me.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it is a blessing. And, Jeremy tells me that all the time, that I'm very blessed to have you guys there. Because I think, so many people love Daddy, but nobody really knows what we're feeling except us, It's one of those things that I think I keep wondering when it's going to get easier. I really do. Like, it's only been 2 months and I feel like it was yesterday. I feel like, and I don't want to say that, I have to put on a front or anything, but I think, you are expected to go back to normal. Like, you're expected to kind of like, okay, you buried your father, and of course you're sad, and people understand that, of course, but life does go on, and you have to kind of wake up every day and get back to your routine and pretend like you're not just heartbroken. And it's so hard to do. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I know that, I have my moments where I break down, and
those moments are really hard. They're extremely, extremely painful, and like there's nothing that anybody could say, at least for me. Like, there's nothing anybody could say.
Like you said, Rosie, I think we all know someone who's lost a parent. And before this, of course you feel so sad and for them, but when it happens to you, it's a different, it is a different beast. Like, 100%. It's a nightmare. Like, it's something you really cannot process unless you've experienced it. It's really something, like, I promise you, like, I think whenever I've, learned about people losing a parent, I feel so heartbroken. And of course it's a sad thing. You're like, dang, that's really sad. Like, I can't believe, that happened to you, and I'm so sorry. But when it happens to you, man.
Yeah. It's like it's something that you wish you can escape, or a nightmare that you wish you can wake up from, but you can't.
This is a person who's known you from birth, someone that you know, like the first human interaction, the first love,
And then, like you said, it's like, I kind of do feel just like how you were mentioning that people expect you to go back to normal, but there is no back to normal without that, There is no back to normal, And, I mean, we do have to keep moving forward, but it's tough. We just passed 2 months. And, like, the wounds are still open. And I think about them a lot.
Well, I mean, I know that everybody handles grief differently. So, I mean, and I know that, Christian is the youngest, and I know he felt some type of way. Daddy didn't think so. I know he felt...
feel like he did.
No, he didn't. Daddy loved that boy.
Yeah.
And I was just, wanting him to kind of share, because I think it's important, especially people who are listening who have lost someone. Obviously they know.
I think for me, like, right now, sorry, I know that we were directing it to Chris. Express yourself. I think for me, I'm like right now in this moment, like just in a stage where I am kind of just trying to push people away and not really interact with people like at all. I feel horrible about it, but I cannot. I feel like I'm expected to be like the person that I was before. And
it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to be going back to just being happy and.
Can I ask y'all something?
Yes.
Like, obviously, after, do y'all ever find yourself in a moment of happiness and like feeling guilty?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh my god. Yes.
There's.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like.
Oh my god, that was a realist thing. No, I didn't even know how to put that into words. Like even being happy.
Thinking
like,
that.
Yeah, like even laughing at something. I felt guilty for not still being completely,
right.
Tore up. Yeah.
And then like to me, I feel like I have like those, long stretches, like whenever I'm at work or something and, nobody knew Dad or nobody like really knows what happened. So I don't get asked about it. So I feel like I just have to, I just keep to myself and I just try to be as normal.
Because you also don't want to walk around as being, a Debbie Downer or always sad or depressed. Yes. So you do have to put on a face. I mean, I work with children, so I have to be, I have to put on this mask where like, hey, everyone, and it's not how I'm feeling. So I think that was a real question because
I think it's like you're sad all of the time, or at least for me, it's like I'm sad all the time. But then there's like moments in the day wherever I feel a different emotion, but then it's just back to sadness.
Before it was like you live in a happy life and there's just moments of sadness or madness or whatever the case may be. But now it's the other way. It's you're living in this sorrow kind of quote unquote, but then you have these moments. You have
That was
it's a weird shift.
That's honestly that. Oh my gosh, exactly how I felt. Like whenever something would make me laugh afterwards. And it's crazy that you say that because I've never been able to actually I've thought that, but I've never expressed that.
And I do feel, Roy, like that I can see that with you. Like I feel like I can tell that you're still trying to be like kind of strong, still trying to like bring out parts of yourself, and then I can see you kind of retract. Like even with trying to do this podcast, it's like you were trying to move forward with it to kind of let everybody know that listens to you. And then you kind of just felt like, no, like I can't share like this part. And it's
just hard. It's hard to do like pretty much anything. Like honestly go out. Like I'm trying so hard. And, last weekend I went to, my best friend's little girl's birthday party. And a friend of mine brought it up, she pulled me to the side and even her mom said, hey, I'm so sorry I heard about your dad. And like instant tears. How can I control that? Like I can't, but I really, and I hate making people feel bad because they see me cry and they're like, I'm so sorry. But it's something I cannot control because I'm not healed yet. And so when people bring it up, like, Marissa's mom said, I'm so sorry for your loss, and instant tear. And I had to kind of move away because I didn't want to cry. And then, another friend of mine brought it before I left, and instant tears that, I was just holding back. And it's so hard. Like, it's hard to kind of just move on with life and just be present and happy when you're not fully healed,
Yeah, we're not fully healed. That's the thing, and that I don't think, unless you dealt with it before, you wouldn't understand.
I would love if, your listeners, if anybody's been through something, like if they have any advice, because, I love to pray and, kind of just spend some time quietly to myself to kind of just think about Dad. But
that only gets you to feel so much better.
Like, and then how Rosie was saying too, or no, I'm sorry, how Lala was saying too, that, which one? No, it was you. You said that just now. You said that you were at a place of work where nobody met Dad or whatever. I was going through that too, and then I forgot to tell you guys, but whenever we were cleaning Dad's apartment, the last day that we were cleaning Dad's apartment, I went to go get my hair cut. And I ran into somebody. First of all, the barber told me that there was something off about me. Like, he knew that there was, and he knew Susie or whatever. But he could tell that this time there was something off about me too. And I ran into a childhood friend of ours at the barbershop. Mm-hmm. And then so it was like a, hey, it's good to see you type of moment. And we shook hands. And then I get in the barbershop, in the barber chair. And then I was like, hey, I don't know if you heard, but my dad just passed away. And then like everybody was just like, oh shit, like how do you respond to that?
Yeah, I feel like,
yeah. And then he was like, damn, like I'm sorry to hear that. And then the barber was like, didn't Susie just die? You know, and I was like, yeah. And you know, I was like, it's been tough. And he's like, when did he die? I was like, on Wednesday. And this was on Saturday that I got my haircut. Mm-hmm. That was the last time that we cleaned this apartment out, right? Yeah. He passed away on Wednesday, right? Yes. He passed away on Wednesday. And so he just died on Saturday. And then everybody was like, damn, like I'm sorry to hear that. But for the people that know him, I've been spending a lot of the time with the cousins, honestly. And they love telling me their Cielo stories. And that's my part of the healing process, along with looking at all his old VCRs. I think the four of us are so different. Yes. But we were raised with the same morals and values that we were raised with. So like the four of us are way completely different, but so similar at the same time. And all four of us have different ways of coping with things, reacting to things.
You know, I'm kind of in a stage where I am pushing like people away. Like I'm not really trying. You know, like Roy is hanging out with the cousins, and you know, like you're able to go with your friends, and I just don't have the energy for that.
And that's the thing, I haven't like gone out with friends like that. I'm trying. I really am trying. Like, you know, poor Jen, you know, because she's been through it, and so she's always inviting me out. Hey, let's just go get some sushi, or let's go get a drink, and I just don't want to do any of that. I just want to be alone. Like I just want to be.
Yeah. We were supposed to get effed up. Why did I say effed up? I never censor myself. Whenever I'm around Rosie, like I feel like I have to.
It automatically comes
like,
out.
We were supposed to get fucked up, and we never like together like this. Oh, could we do that today?
We said we were gonna do it the day we cleaned out his apartment. Remember?
Well, yeah. I mean, who changed?
And Christian didn't want to do anything. He was just like, I'll just do the heavy work. Like I'll just take stuff to the trash.
No, but seriously, Christian, tell us about like the.
Like, how is it for you? Because you just don't know people that, you know, and I'm not saying Roy has millions of followers, but anybody that, like, hears that, how do you deal with it?
How I want to know about, like, the few days after Dad's passing, how do you react to people? Or even now, like, how did you react to people? How did it change you? What do you notice that's different about yourself?
I think, like, for you, Chris, like, just what I've noticed, I mean, you're kind of like a very private person. I think like that's what you did get from Dad. And I feel like you more than, you know, Lalo or Roy. I see that part of Dad in you that you just you don't want it to show. Like you don't want to have a reaction. I could be wrong. I know that for me, I think that it's extremely hard because, well, I'm the only one with kids and I'm not allowed to like just cry all day long. So I feel like I have to like mask my emotions, and sometimes it's like too much that they all come out at once, you know? And I try to do it when I'm alone because, like you said earlier, you don't want to be a Debbie Downer. You know, whenever I am alone, like I drive far for work and I'm crying on the way home, or, you know, just any moment in the shower if Mom's watching the kids. I just feel like I have no energy at all. Like none.
Same. Yeah. I see a lot of us in Dad. Like each one of us has...
I feel like I'm like not close at all. Any reflection of him. I don't know.
I know I am, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Stubbornness.
For sure you. I can see that. And I can see him in you too, but I feel like I'm trying to think.
You got a lot of Mom.
I think maybe I got his.
Nice side.
Is he funny? He was hilarious.
But I think that, and I keep saying it, like I've said it.
I feel
like even before this, that I've always said that Christian's a Mimi dad. Like
for sure,
they're both Sagittarius. So
even your horoscopes.
I know, right?
I
think that the way Christian is reacting or handling it or whatever is exactly how Dad would handle a loss. Like Dad lost 2 best friends, you know,
and his dad
and his father, you know, and my grandpa. And
not once did we hear about it. Mm-mm. I didn't.
When I mean, we were little, or younger, but whenever Theo passed, you know, which was his best friend. And his cousin, of course, but I remember we pretty much didn't see him all day. Like, he just kind of took off and drove and kind of, I guess, to mourn or whatever, to cry. And I think I see Chris in that a lot. Like, 100%. Chris pretty much Chris just, like, wanted to be alone, like, left alone. Like, even at the funeral, like, I don't need all this. Like, just let me be with my dad. Like, let me just be with my family and my dad.
Not very talkative,
yeah.
As you guys can tell.
But no, like, even whenever I had to do the eulogy, when I had to deliver the eulogy, all 4 of you guys went up with me, which was so special because honestly, I really wouldn't have done it without you there. Remember, I told Deacon David, I said, no, Rosie's not here yet. So we were supposed to go first. But because Rosie wasn't there, I said, no, I'm not going without my sister. But anyway, when we got
me
up.
and Chris, right?
Well, I'm saying like all 4 of us. But anyway, no, when I was up there, like I already had mentally prepared myself, like, do not cry. You're a crybaby, don't cry. And I told Chris, which he took very literal, by the way. I said, if I start to cry, you know, like, you have to pinch me. Well, what did he do?
Every 3 seconds I pinched.
Yeah, I think he left her bruises.
I was wondering why you were fidgeting. I didn't know that was going on.
Oh, you had no... Like, Christian... Okay, so he had his arm around me like as if he was hugging me, which...
I thought he was hugging you.
He was.
I thought so, too.
And
I thought that was
literally the second... Very kind.
That was very kind of you.
The second that I began...
Quivering.
Yeah, quivering. Thanks, Chris. I looked at him, right? I said... I think I said something like... I don't think I can do this. Like, really emotional, right? Like, I don't think I can do this. And he pinched the crap out of me and was like, go.
Even Sergio was like,
I think I said, you're already there. I think I said, you're already there.
Yes, he did say that.
You already started it.
And Lala was so mad at me. She was so mad at me. You know, whenever Lala gives you that look, like, but she was mad at me because she told me to record her, and I forgot. And I had never been so scared for my life, like ever. No, but yeah. So, and I like how you told her to go whenever you didn't even speak.
Well, that was the point I was trying to make, like that. You know, Christian was just kind of like, I don't need all this. Like, I don't need all these people. Like, I just want to be here with my dad and my family. And so I don't really remember seeing him cry. Well,
whenever we were here and we were on the call with.
No, me and Chris were the first ones. Chris was the first one that got here when Rosie had shared the news that, you know, hey, they want to talk to us tomorrow. Like, they want all the 4 of us, mom, grandma, they want us all there. So Christian came in and we hugged each other for like a minute, 2 minutes, like, and then the rosary was going on, so we started praying. I was the only one here, right? Yeah, you were here first before I think Rosie got here, and then Roy. And then I think that was the first time that all 4 of us were able to just be alone and kind of just cry together. And I don't think we wanted to accept it at that point, but we kind of knew.
Yeah, we had to. We understood that we had to accept it. And that's why I would always go to you guys for comfort. Like, I asked y'all, did the nurse just say that Dad's going to be like that forever? Like, I had to, you guys have always been my source of strength throughout this whole thing.
I think, too, like, Mom, like, she just was nothing but, like,
supportive, encouraging, loving on us, making sure we knew we weren't alone. Mom's a real MVP.
Oh, yeah. Sure. She was Christian. Like, how like, mute he was. That's how she was at first. Like, for a really long time until she...
I could tell she remembered. I mean, she not remembered, but she like realized, okay, I have to be there for my kids.
Yeah, she had to pull that strength, like just because I know that she was hurting too, obviously. So she had to just be as strong as she could for us, like at that moment, because there was no way that we could show any type of strength. I think, in those first moments,
for sure.
And then also, you know who else is the real MVP, and Christian could vouch for me on this one. Oh my gosh. The day that we had the meeting, whose day was it? The day that we had the meeting.
It was Tiasara.
Did she not? Okay, so you can tell that she was being like strong, like keeping everything together, and then they pulled her out. Why?
Because they were washing up Dad.
Yeah.
They were just washing him up.
They were washing him up. So they pull her out, and she sees us in the waiting room. There's one chair in between me and Chris, so she sits there. And it wasn't until we go like this to her. It wasn't until we go like this to her that she just breaks down.
Immediately just shaking. Just shaking like, in tears.
Yo, I love Tiasara for so many reasons. So but her faith in God is...
It's incredible.
Incredible.
And not only that, like... Whenever they kind of hinted that, okay, we're going to allow visitors.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yes, so they kind of hinted it, and, you know, we really, I mean, I'm telling you, we had been calling the hospital every single day trying to say, please let one of us for 1 hour, please, like, let us in.
Like, we won't tell anybody.
We were still driving up there trying to figure out a way to finesse and go back up there. So whenever they hinted that they were going to possibly allow a visitor, I told my tia Sara, I don't really remember why, I think we were probably already talking or something, and so I told her that they hinted something like that, and I said, so all of us four were going to start quarantines, you know, so we're not going to be attending any more rosaries, we're not going to be going to work, we're not going to be doing anything, because if there's a chance we can go in there and see him, like, we don't want to be risking it with any outside health issues, you know. So immediately when I told her that we were going to stop going to the rosaries to pray with everyone, that we were just going to join the Zoom, she began to also, just in case we let her. And so she stopped also going to the rosaries and just attending by the Zoom calls, because she wanted that opportunity too.
They really show, like, I see.
Well, I was going to say, by the way, we were obviously keeping that there were visitors available a secret.
We were keeping it a secret.
So the thing was that Tia Sara was quarantining and not going to these rosaries without telling people.
Right.
So people were actually upset with her, like, why aren't you going to these rosaries?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yes.
And, like, she obviously didn't tell them, it's because of this. You know, she kind of just kept it to herself, like, well, that's always something that
Oh my God.
And in case you're wondering why, I mean, if you're Mexican and you're in the hospital, the whole community is going to come.
If you think that they are going to understand one visitor per day, like, no.
Please. Do you remember that, you know, the unfortunate, sad day of Daddy's passing? Unfortunate.
Oh my
And they told us, you know, we're going to let you four and your mom...
And maybe your grandma.
Maybe grandma and a priest. So technically it was supposed to be, 6 only, right? Yes. The priest, grandma, mom, and us 4.
Yes. They said the normal family will 7. Bring, like, at the max 5.
Right. No joke. Like, honestly, at that day, my mind went blank. Like, I don't remember a lot, but I remember at one point I looked up, because I was kneeled down next to Daddy. One point I looked up and I was like, when did everybody get here? I mean, my whole family. I have no idea, like, how they even allowed that, but I'm so grateful. And, like, the love.
Completely grateful.
Like, low-key, it just reminds me of us, like how much we love each other, you know, and how I know that you guys would do anything to be there for me. So seeing his brothers and sisters there, of course, and how much all of them, you know, and Daddy was yeah.
Can we just real quick count how many? I mean, you said they gave us permission for us, for Mom and Grandma. 6
and
people.
The priest.
And the priest. So in total, 7 people.
7, that's it. That was all I was allowed.
Tio Abuelo was there. Tia Stella was there. Tia Sara was there.
Ruby,
Cindy, Brenda,
Sally,
Anna.
Anna.
No, Chito wasn't there.
Oh, Chito wasn't there.
Oh, no. It's because, remember...
Anna, yes, she was.
She got there later.
Well, she did. But,
yeah, but Anna was there.
Yeah, and yeah. So she was there. Sergio was there.
Orlando.
But Orlando had gotten there earlier, and we were like, I was low key.
Sorry, we're still counting people.
No, that's fine.
It was a lot.
And like at first, I was getting nervous because I'm like, Mom wasn't there yet, and so I'm like, I was no, like
they're not gonna
let her in. So I was like, no, like stop trying to come in because then you could count as a person, and my mom can't get in. And then, we were like trying to go up there, and, the lady was like, wait, like, you know, we're like, oh no, this is the priest that we had already, she's like, oh yeah, that was approved, but who are you? And it's kind of like to Orlando. And I'm like, he's the priest's driver. He's the driver and he has to hold his Bible. Like,
listen, just love our cousins. Like, every single one of them.
Yeah.
For just, 1, you know, just making sure the rosaries went smoothly. 2, showing up, hugging us, and just being there for us at the hospital. Like I said before, like when you lose a parent, like you don't know what it's like, you know. I mean, losing a parent is sad, but I think when it happens, you just can't process. You really can't process a loss like that until it happens to you. So, I mean, just the love that we had, it's just so special, and forever will be in my heart. Yeah. Forever.
Like, honestly, like, how, I wouldn't say that we're in debt, but forever, like, grateful. Forever grateful.
And I think, like, for me, like, it was, that day that you went to the hospital, that it was your day with Dad, and you had been there the whole time, and then they went out.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah, they went out. And all of them drove up to the hospital.
Prayed outside the hospital.
Like, when I saw that, I was just in immediate tears. Like, it was hot outside. Hot. Like, hot. They were outside. They did the whole rosary. And for some people who don't know what the rosary is, like, it's a very long process.
Yeah. Roughly how long would you say? Like 20?
No.
Half an hour?
Yes.
It can be. It depends on how fast you pray.
But then they dedicate, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So, like, it could take, like, a good 45 minutes.
And
they're holding up the cross, like a heavy cross, and a picture of all of the santos and, you know, the Virgin Mary. They're all holding up these statues, like, at the hospital because they're not allowing visitors in. So but, you know, they were praying outside of the hospital for Dad. Yeah. And just really, even to go back to Tia Sara, when she was, like, walking down the ICU on her day, she just, like, started throwing holy water at all the patients.
Oh my God, she started doing that?
Well, like, not at patients, but
at their rooms.
At their rooms. She was throwing, like, holy water because she's like, this person, I'm going to pray for him and I'm going to pray for him. She really was.
I had no idea that was going on. And I'm sorry in advance, John Smith. I'm just kidding.
We're gonna have to cut that off.
Yeah.
What? I want them to know about Tia Sara's holy water moment. She would just... I do feel like that's kind.
Yeah, that is.
Because a lot of those people there have nobody.
They didn't have anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So she was like, I'm praying for them. If she saw a lonely room, she was like throwing holy water towards them.
And this was after that they had opened up the visitation policy to where
yes.
It was one
so there was like people allowed to go in and visit, but my Tia Sara saw some people with no person in there, and she was like, I'm gonna take it upon myself, and she just threw holy water at all of their rooms.
Speaking of the ICU, You remember that time that we were mad at Lala because she was huffing and puffing?
I was having a panic attack.
Okay, so let's break that down.
Christian got mad at me, and I was so heartbroken because he yelled at me.
Oh, we all wanted to, though. I mean, you have to understand. We understand. Okay, so let's break it down. So we were, the four of us, this was the very first time that they let the four of us in the ICU, right?
Yes.
And so we were there. It was the first time that we saw Dad, all four of us, in the ICU in the state that he was. And, of course, we were all in shock. Lala's a little bit more
emotional.
Yeah,
and
a little bit more emotional than us. And don't get me wrong, I don't blame you at all, 100%. I knew what it was. But basically, we were in the ICU, all four of us. We were talking to our dad. He wasn't responding. He was really heavily sedated. And Maria saw him, and she started having like a panic attack. And it was bad. Like she was huffing and puffing, trying to blow down the bricks. And she had to step outside of the room. And I went out there and I was like, I tried to hug you as hard as I can, but you didn't even want me to hug you.
I just needed a breathe.
I just got done yelling at her. That's why.
Look, and the reason why I was upset, it was of course not because of your reaction. Yeah. I was just like, they weren't allowing visitors. Yeah. And then you went out in the hall and I'm like, have your panic attack in front of Dad, like in his room, because I don't want you going up and down the halls.
The nurse told me that she didn't want him to hear that. Like, that it was, like, not the nurse. It was someone else. It was the...
janitor.
No, it was the you know, what do you call him? The priest that's there at the hospital?
Oh, the chaplain.
Yeah, the chaplain. He had told me, he said, you know, he might not, you know, be awake or whatever, but he can definitely hear, you know, and he kind of made me a little depressed. Because he had mentioned something like,
when did you see the chaplain?
I know. I don't think we saw the chaplain that day. You're confusing a couple days. How many panic attacks did you have?
Okay, no. First of all, I did have this conversation with the chaplain, whether it was before or after, it doesn't matter. But he said that, you know,
So to get the record straight.
We're not going to cut that all. You're not going to make me out to be a liar.
No, it's okay.
The janitor told Lala.
Shut the fuck up. Oh, yeah, no, he told me, or well, before, I mean, after this, but he still told me, and I knew this already, I had already heard it, so when I heard him say it, it resonated, but he said, you know, him hearing is the last to go, so say whatever you want to say to him, say it to him, but don't let him hear you sad. So I didn't want Daddy to hear me sad.
I do want to say that, you know, if you've experienced a panic attack, I am very sorry. If we've described it incorrectly. Again, I know it's not something...
Stop!
It's just not something that you can control, and I do understand that,
hey,
but...
I'm not gonna lie, I appreciate you, though, having that, because, like, I, like, looked at you and I was like, I cannot do that.
At least I
cannot.
That's not me.
Do not go that low.
It was not that bad.
It wasn't. We got you a chair. They had to grab you a chair.
It kind of was.
Y'all are horrible. I'm over it.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. No, yeah, let's change subjects now. All right. And I don't want you guys to, like I said, this is about our experience, and that you guys are helping me. I think we're helping each other cope. I feel like this is how you heal. Venting, talking about it, especially with the people that you care about the most and the people that understand the most. But, man, can we talk about that whole... Okay, our father passes away. We're grieving. And now we had to plan a funeral.
Yes.
That is tough because you kind of have to, in a way, pause. And this goes back to what Christian was saying. Whenever you have to, like, you feel like a moment of... I wouldn't say happiness, but you get into the moment of where now you have to get shit done.
Right.
You have to kind of like pause grieving so you can figure out what we're going to do.
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely not happiness, but you definitely have to put your feelings to the side because you have to take care of business and you have to make sure that Daddy has a good, you know, farewell and the best of the best. Yeah. And so, it really was like, I don't know about you guys, but I pretty much dreaded the whole moment. Like I was ready to just lay Daddy to rest, and be able to just have the freedom to come and visit him whenever I wanted to without, having to
worry about
everything. Yeah, worry about the
casket,
the casket,
flowers.
the finance, the flowers, and then also making sure everything is, COVID appropriate, and then dealing with all these people.
The cemetery.
Yeah. And I kind of shared this moment with Lala after literally after the burial. Like, I just went up to her and hugged her, and I was like, I don't know if it's just me, but this is the first time I feel like I can actually breathe. And it was just because so much was just, taken off our shoulders. It was just so much that we've been going through for the last 3 weeks. And I don't know, it was just a nice, not necessarily a sense of relief, but acceptance.
I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. It's not relief, but it's like, okay, now I can finally breathe and mourn him. Because it's different whenever you go to a funeral, and then it's different whenever you have to plan a funeral. You have to
so much.
There's so much. I mean, we were in constant talks with the funeral home,
and everything had to be done so fast. The payments, and then having his clothes ready, picking the casket, making sure we have all the pictures, everything. It just happened so.
And then again, just to reiterate, this is during the pandemic, so there's a lot of people losing people. So it was either done immediately or we were going to have to wait a couple weeks. And so everything for us was extremely quick and extremely it was just a huge burden on top of a burden.
Time was crucial.
Yes. And so we had to make some quick decisions okay, are we ready for this right now? Or are we going to hold off until next week? And so we just needed to make decisions. We didn't have a lot of time.
Yeah. And then on top of that too, okay, he passed away on a Wednesday. What was Monday? Labor Day?
Labor Day.
Or was it Memorial? What was it?
Whatever's in September.
It was
whatever's in September.
Yeah. It wasn't Labor Day? Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
It was Labor Day.
It was Labor Day, right? Yeah, it was. And then so we had to, and that I think we were all really irritated, but that's one of the things that we can't control. That was something that was out of our hands. We couldn't have the burial or even the viewing on Monday. No, wait. Yeah, we did have the viewing on Sunday. And then we had to skip a day and have his burial on Tuesday, which was tough. But, some things are just out of your hand. That whole process was just dreadful. I wish that there was some type of service that plans the funerals for you. I mean, obviously you have to do it's a personal thing because you want to make sure that you choose the right casket and the flowers and what they like personally and everything. But it would just be a load off of a lot of people's backs if there was people that do that for you.
I don't know, but to, I guess, address a more current moment is we had just went to the cemetery this past week. It was his 2 months.
Dia de los Muertos.
Right. And Juliana saw Lala leave food for Dad there at the cemetery. And I just want to share with you guys that today I found, by his picture on the setup that I have at my house, I found crackers, bread, a yogurt. Stop. And so I got her and I'm like, Juliana, are you putting food right here? You can't be putting food right here. And then she's like, it's for Grandpa.
Oh my God.
And I'm telling you, I feel like she just sees him so often, in her dreams, she sees him. And so she's still really little but she does talk about him so much. And she goes, and I'm telling you, she goes and leaves him food. And I told her, you need to stop. She gave him a lot of her Halloween candy. Oh. It was mainly the ones that she didn't want. But still, she's just leaving a whole bunch of stuff next to his picture. I think, to go back to my earlier statement of when I said, I don't know what I have of Dad. It's my dancing. I have my dancing from my dad. And also how funny I am. Just like him. Don't make faces.
That can be debated.
I wish Christian would have got some of his dancing from Dad because Christian does not know how to dance.
Don't be coming at Chris.
He doesn't. Oh
I
my
feel
God.
like he did. Remember whenever we went to Mexico and then there was a guy that had shot the gun and we all got scared? He was dancing with me at the moment. I felt like we were doing fine, but we could have just been a little.
Well, Speaking of your children, let's go back, you guys. Go back, because I know Christian has to leave. But let's go back just real quick to us having to break the news to Jaden. I mean, that was... I really got choked up. That was one of the moments where I got choked up and I wanted to cry, but I forced myself not to. I literally
feel the
forced
same.
myself not to. Because...
That's another moment, too, where I felt like I couldn't do it. Like, I could not do it. I cannot be the person. Like, not the person, but I couldn't do it by myself. Like, I knew I wasn't going to be strong enough.
And that's when you have siblings.
So, literally, all of them came to my house, and I think maybe you started it off, Lala. And then Christian was already, like, holding him, and I feel like he felt it right away.
As soon as those words left your mouth.
I mean, that's literally Daddy's first grandchild. Yeah. Daddy loved, like, Jaden was his world. Like, it really is.
Lit up his whole entire world.
So that was very hard. But, I mean, it was heartbreaking to see Jaden that way. Because it was so, like, I don't think he was expecting it yet. Like... He knew for weeks that he was, Grandpa's sick. He's in the hospital. But I don't know if he processed how bad it was.
And he was crying before, right, Rosie? Before he...
Yes. And when he found out that, Dad was not in a good state and he wasn't doing that well, he definitely was crying a lot. He was I feel like he actually acts a lot like you, Chris. He doesn't want to talk to me. He doesn't want... So that's why I felt like I did have to have, like, all of you guys, because I do feel like a lot of the time he'll call and text you guys, he'll talk to you guys. It doesn't really feel like I'm cool.
Jaden's my biggest supporter. Like, literally my biggest supporter.
Yes. I am not going to forget that tweet, just so you know.
Huh?
I'm not going to forget that tweet.
Oh my God, I can't forget that tweet. Whenever it went, I took a screenshot of a conversation with me and Jaden.
It was like 12 in the morning.
I remember.
And then he was like, "Oh my God, Roy! Like, do you want me to subscribe with my mom and my dad's phone?"
Yeah, he was like, "Do you want me to go in their room and watch it from their phone too?"
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, but and then that day, whenever we told him, I think he was just expecting news.
Right.
I think he was expecting us to give him like an update, like a hard update, but I don't think he was expecting that. And you can tell by his reaction, like he was just, it went like from 0 to 100 real quick, like he just crushed.
Yeah.
And broke down.
And he's a tough boy. He's a tough boy. He, whenever I do have like my little breakdowns, whether it's in the house or on the road, like, he knows, like, I guess he kind of understands what I need at the moment, because he never really says anything. He just, like, holds me and just says a couple words, and then I know that he usually leaves because I know he wants to go and either cry too or feel, like, whatever emotions he needs to feel on his own as well, because he really does, like, after that, he really just wanted to be by himself. He wanted to close all of us out.
Yeah.
So it's hard, and it's like I want to be strong for him, but I could barely be strong for myself, and so.
And I know that he was really, really, really young whenever Grandpa passed away. So I think that this is the first funeral that he actually understands.
Yes,
I don't know
a real loss.
That comes out right, but I think this is like the one that really, really hit him hard.
Yes.
And you know what? I don't know if you're a child. I don't know if Jaden's psychic or what, but during Dad's funeral, for some reason, like whenever I would be like in an emotion, like a oh my God, I'm about to lose it, I would just randomly, he would just like come up to me and go like this, like hug me, and I'm like, oh my God, like how did you know? And I just
at that moment you needed it, yeah.
Yeah, like during the burial, whenever I watched the video for the first time.
I also want to say, like, a little bit of background. Like, with me, I had Jaden extremely young, so I was still living with my mom and dad, and so it almost felt like, especially with Chris being young, and, we were all young. he was more like another little sibling to you guys. I had to be the mother, and I actually wasn't like a real mother because if I would get mad at Jaden, Dad would come and get mad at me for getting mad at him or making him cry or making him clean or whatever it was. So I'm telling you, when he was his favorite, he like, it's like, forget Rosie.
100%.
Yeah. So he was just like, are you getting mad at Jaden? Just immediately. So that's why, like, you know, his relationship with Jaden was extremely different than it was with my daughter, because he really did grow up with Dad and Mom, of course.
Yeah.
And both of them spoil him crazy.
It's just so crazy. Like, everything happened so fast. Everything happened so fast. Like, whenever I took him to, it's like yesterday I took him to the hospital, you know?
It's still super, super unreal. Like, it's hard for me to accept because...
You don't want to accept it.
Yes, you don't want to accept that this is your new life. This is what you have to go through. And
stop. That man, whenever we oh my God. Hold on, no. Whenever we closed the casket, I didn't want to close that casket. But it's like going from taking him to the hospital to then closing the casket to then watching him get ready to now going to his resting place. It's a lot to take in, and we're just coming on 2 months, and it doesn't get any easier. I know that. Like, I've spoken, and trust me, the best people that you can speak to is people that have been through it. I mean, before us, you know, like people that have been through it and give you advice, and because I mean, they know it doesn't get any easier, and
right,
you know, it's just, and this is such a cliche to say, but it is just a part of life. I mean, we're all gonna end up there one day,
right? That's one thing that's for certain.
One thing is for certain. And, I mean, like I said, you guys have been my biggest support system.
I agree. I feel like it's hard. I hate repeating myself, but we all are grieving differently. Yeah. And I don't feel like outside of you guys that I can find any comfort. I don't know. It's just extremely hard.
Maybe with Mom, but
yeah,
aside from anybody
right.
else. Yeah.
It's just it's not the same, and it's not. I don't know. I feel like it's almost of a forced, you know.
Yeah, I think that just to kind of wrap it up, like, this is more for people who have experienced what we have, so they can kind of know, this is not something that it's easy. It's definitely not.
And we need help, guys.
Everybody grieves differently.
Yeah. And one thing that I do want to say, if you are blessed and fortunate enough to still have your dad with you, please tell him how much you love him.
Parents, yeah.
Take pictures, take videos, as many as you can. There's never too many. Just tell him how much you love and how much he means to you. And even parents. Oh yeah, sorry. Mom, dad, anybody that you love, just let them know.
Brothers, sisters.
How much they mean to you, because there's a possibility that you might not be able to tell them tomorrow.
Now, you just never know.
You never know. This
tomorrow
was completely
is
unexpected.
Never promised.
Exactly. This was completely unexpected. There's been a lot of things that have been completely unexpected. We have way too many cousins to mention, but Johnny, Maricela, Maribel, Orlando, Edwin, Manny, we love you guys, and we're here for you guys throughout this whole entire really tough process. Before we go, I want to wrap this up. Basically, I really don't think that there's preparing for something like this. You can't prepare yourself for losing a parent, because everybody handles it different and it's not easy. There's no handbook on how to handle these type of situations. You have to go at your own pace. Even if you think that you're a big crybaby, be a big crybaby, because I know that's what I have felt like. It happens to anyone, and I mean, it happens to everyone. And I want to try to give some type of advice, but there's really no type of advice to give. Just,
and every emotion, I feel like it's fine to feel. Like, it's okay for you to feel like confused and angry. I mean, I know that I felt anger during this time, and
during times like these, I mean, whenever I lost Susie, you know, my big support system were, you know, Edwin and David and the people that understood what I was going through. Whenever I lost Dad, you guys were my biggest support system. Y'all knew what I was going through. You know what I'm saying? And it's the people that understand that are going to be able to assist you, that are going to be able to help you get through this, because it's not anything easy. But again, I don't wish this upon anybody, because it's just like something that's really tough to get through. I do want to thank everybody for listening, and I do want to thank once again, I do want to thank everybody that was there for us through our father's passing. And like, there's just, I'm going to be forever grateful for this, for you guys, for all the support, for all the love that you've been sending, not only me, but my siblings. Do you guys want to say anything before we close?
No, just thank you for the support and for the kind words that have been shared, and the prayers, of course, and for our family and friends who have been there for us.
All right, but honestly,
embrace the pain, really. Understand why you feel what you feel. Get better at it, right? I mean, we only have one life. Tell the people you love them while they're here.
Why is that so deep? It's always so deep whenever he talks, and I can't ever learn how to express myself the way I want to. But yeah, thank you guys, and we have to move forward. We have no other choice than to move forward. Ooh, I wanted to speak in Spanish real quick. Okay. Muchísimas gracias, la verdad, a todos por todo el apoyo. Desde el fondo de nuestros corazones, yo creo que yo hablo de parte de mis hermanas y mi hermano, en querer darle gracias a todos los que estaban allí durante todo este proceso, y que Dios los bendiga a todos ustedes. Y esto era en Paisa Perspective. This was the Paisa Perspective. It's not like any other podcast I've ever recorded before, but it may be one of the realest podcasts I've ever recorded. Definitely one of the deepest podcasts. This is as deep as it gets. And again, thank you guys. Thank you, Rosie, Lala, Christian. Thank you guys so much for always being there for me. Thank you guys for helping me get through this. We'll see you guys next time. I want my sister to finish up with a prayer. Go ahead, Rosie.
We give them back to you, O Lord, who first gave them to us. And as you did not lose in the giving, so we do not lose them in the return. Not as the world gives do you give, O lover of souls. For what is yours is ours also, if we belong to you. Life is unending because love is undying. And the boundaries of this mortal life are but a horizon, and a horizon is but the limit of sight. Lift us up, strong Son of God, that we may see further. Strengthen us in faith, that we may see beyond the horizon. And while you prepare a place for us, as you have promised, prepare us also for that happy place, that where you are, we may be also, with those who have loved forever.
Paisa